Alright, so in this part, we have a pretty solid 8 bars here, but it's time to start building on this a little bit, this loop turning into a really solid part of a song, and then turning that solid part of a song into a full song. Let's just listen to what we have so far again. Sound really cool so far. So the first thing I'm going to do here is add some effects and crashes and sweeps and whatnot to this part to make it more part of a song rather than just a cool sounding loop. So the first thing I'm going to do here is double this because I want our chorus to be a full 16 bars. You can get away with 8 in pop music. I personally like 16. A lot of artists are doing the first hook is 8 bars and then the second is 16. It's really personal preference. So I'm going to go through some effects shots here. This crash sweep thing sounds pretty good. Gonna pitch it down 100. Now I'm gonna put it on mixer track. I'm gonna put an EQ on it just to lower out or just to cut out the low end. Obviously don't need that. I'm gonna widen it a little bit. You might notice I'm putting stereo enhancer on a lot of these elements, especially some drums and stuff like that, and that's definitely on purpose. I love personally a wide mix. I never want stuff to be too mono other than like my kick and my sub. Other than that, I like my song to be pretty wide. So that's kind of why I'm doing this. It is important not to overuse it. You don't want your whole stereo field to be super wide, but if you notice, I have the size usually pretty low. So that keeps it kind of reined in as far as the stereo field while still keeping it interesting. I'm also going to put a reverb on that so it's a little bit longer. Click the top left here, click make unique. And then I'm going to click the reverse button so now I have a nice little reverse sweep as well. And then I'm going to drag the in a little bit so it doesn't go quite as long as the regular crash. I kind of want it to be a little bit quicker than that. Then I'm going to cut out a little bit where the crash plays in reverse, so it's just the sweet part. As you listen to your chorus over and over, it's important to see if you hear anything in your head that isn't in the song already, and then as soon as you hear that, try and implement it so you don't forget that idea later. And what I'm hearing right now is a little bit of a drum fill at the end of the chorus, so I'm going to do that. So I have a snare right here. Just going to draw something in. So I like this so far. I'm going to change the velocities a little bit here just by myself. I'm not going to even use randomizer for this. It's not that many notes. And the panning, I'm going to kind of alternate the panning on them. I'm going to try and make this sound a little interesting. I'm going to try putting a really short reverb on. Cool. I want one more sound to kind of end this bar too. So maybe a tom. Yeah, this one sounds cool. Let's see how it sounds. Alright, sounds pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm just going to look for a few more things here. Maybe another effects shot. Yeah, I like this one. This one sounds kind of cool. So I'm going to layer this under our crash sweep thing that we already got going on. But only for the first time in in the chorus, so that first hit has a little more impact. So I'm just going to EQ it slightly. And I'm going to actually add a delay on this. We're going to put free delay 3 on. We're going to put the time to 8. We're going to lower the cutoff of the delay a little bit, and then also the output. And then we're going to put the offset slightly to the right, and then make it ping pong. Let's see what it sounds like. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. The last thing I want is a little riser for the end of the chorus. So I'm gonna try and find that. So I found one right here in our Future Pop and R&B Worldwide pack. We see here the key is labeled A, and obviously we are in the key of E flat minor. So we are going to go A flat, G, F sharp, F, E, E flat. I'm just gonna put that on our crash mixer track. Alright, perfect. So at this point here, my goal is to make a skeleton of our track. And what I mean by that is lay out your song in a very bare bones way, just so you can get the idea down. It's always easier to fill in the holes later rather than try and figure it out and get stuck on one part and then forget the idea you had for the verse section or whatever. So we're gonna do that right now. We're gonna drag this out a little bit. We're just gonna put it over here for now. And this is where I'm gonna bring in our second sample. We have this chord sample here. So to me, that sounds like a pretty cool intro part. So what we do here is we already have this on mixer track. We're going to copy over the settings from our main sample just so it sounds sonically similar. What I'm going to do is add this ARP in. I also really want a Reese bass. Those are very important in modern pop music, so I'm going to try and find a cool bass sound in here that we could use. So I found this bass one shot here in vocal synth pop, and it sounds like this. What I'm going to do here is drag up the crossfade so it becomes a loop. I'm going to click edit in audio editor, and I'm going to check the pitch of this is in E flat, which is the key of our song, but we want it for the piano roll purposes to just be set C. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go here and we're to our piano here, and we're going to click we're going to click E flat or D sharp. We're going to right click it actually, and that's going to set the sample to that. So now when we play C, it actually plays a C. Another thing we're going to do here, we're going to click cut self, so that key is played on this sound. It cuts off the one that was played before it automatically. We're also going to put some slide on this just so it sounds a little cool. And then on volume here, we're going to enable the envelope. We're going to put everything down except sustain. And this is just so we have as much control over the bass as possible. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take our sub bass, and we're just going to copy those notes over to the Reese bass. So let's hear what it sounds like. So I'm going to put a decapitator on just to distort it a little bit. We're going to put up to like 2. Then we're going to take an EQ. And there is a little bit of clicking for the sample retriggering. So I'm just going to cut that out by cutting out the highs. We don't really need that anyway. And now we really want the bass to be resonant around this 100 to 300 range. So I'm going to boost a little bit there. And I'm actually going to lower or roll off the sub here, the sub frequencies here. We still want the sub to hit, but we don't need it to be as strong as, say, our main sub bass. And then I'm going to leave this. I'm actually going to put a Fruity Panomatic on here. I'm going to have the panning go back and forth very slightly. So you can hear if I turn it way up, it gets really extreme. So I'm going to put it like 45% on the amount, just so it's some slight stereo movement. Alright, let's listen to our what we got for this little intro piece real quick. Alright, so I know here I want this part to be the intro. So I'm going to click Alt-T, that's going to put a marker on here. I'm going to call this intro. And up next, I'm just going to put the drums we have for 16 bars here. Because I know this is where I want our verse to be. I'm then going to click Alt-T here. We're going to call this verse. And then I know right here I want this to be a little... We'll have this be our pre-chorus. And then we're going to have our, put our chorus or a hook right here. We'll call this hook, chorus. So this is just important. It's almost like mental notes, so you don't forget where you're going exactly when you're making the song. So as far as the skeleton, it could be as simple as this. It's just a few elements to let you know and keep your mind of where you're going. So let's build this out a little more. This is where you can start filling stuff in. So obviously we want a sweep going into the verse. I'm going to combine these two drum patterns here, just to make it easier for when I'm about to edit them. I'm going to highlight both, going to go to this little drop down, go edit, and then click merge pattern clips. Alternatively, Control G also works. And what I'm going to do here on pattern 2 now is I'm going to go to patterns in the top left, make sure pattern 2 is highlighted, which it is, and click split by channel. And you'll see here what that does is it takes all the different elements in our drum pattern and separates them by track. And this is really good in case you want to have, certain drums hit first and then more come in. So like say I want just the no hi-hat for the first half, we could do that. So I'm actually going to do that. So I have the snare right here from one of our packs. And I'm just going to use the snare for our verse. So I don't really want that super hard snare hitting in the verse part. I want to leave it for just the chorus. So we're going to drag this in here. And I'm going to mix this a little bit. Main thing is just put some reverb on it. I like how the rest of it sounds. And then we're going to have the hi-hats coming for the second part. For the verse here, I'm going to put this chord loop in here along with our atmosphere chords and our little ARP thing we have here. But I'm actually going to put a filter on our sample. I'm going to automate this so it only comes in during the verse. I'm going to do that by toggling wherever I want to edit in our third-party filter here. We're going to go to Tools, then Last Tweaked, and then Create Automation Clip. And now we're going to drag this up here. We know this is where we want to be at for the verse. I'm going to also make it open up slowly over here. We want open for all this, obviously. And we want open for the beginning as well. I think we're gonna have to just start off with the pad and art, but I like how that sounds. We're actually just gonna copy and paste these over because it works pretty well. Then we're gonna put our Reese bass in for the second half here. Alright, that sounded pretty good to me. So this is the benefit, right, of putting a lot of stuff in our hook, a lot of elements, is that it makes it really easy to make the whole track when you already have a lot of elements you want to use. So that's kind of what we executed right here. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm going to put the snare fill at the end of the verse too. In pop music for the pre-chorus, you don't really need a build per se. They don't really use a lot of drum builds. It's just kind of a sweep into the chorus. So I'm pretty cool with that. So just like that, we pretty much have our full track, or the first half of a full track. We built out our chorus a little bit. We made a skeleton, and then we kind of filled in the missing pieces. What's a pop song without vocals? So up next, we are going to go over some vocal mixing.